you ready to kickstart your week with some dirt slinging and tire slaying action motorsports radio that packs the biggest guests?
Hi, Ken Block here.
Hey, my name's Jolene Van Butte.
What's up, Brian Deegan?
Vaughn Ginn Jr. here.
They've been thrown into one show that has broken down the barriers of what a motorsports radio show should be. This is the Down and Dirty Radio Show, powered by Polaris RZR, with support from General Tire, KMC Wheels, Dirtfish, Gibson Exhaust, and MTX Audio, with your host, who also happens to spend his weekends flying 800 horsepower trucks through the dirt, Jim Beaver.
When was the last time you saw an off-road or rally driver begging to get behind the wheel of a NASCAR IndyCar? Yep, not happening, but you sure see these pavement racers begging to drive our cars.
And his partner in crime every week, a self-proclaimed Canadian moto chick who was jumping triples and taking podiums before most guys even learned to ride, Amy Hood.
No one knows how to say my last name. Like, is it really that hard? Amy Hood, like I'm from the hood. Don't get it twisted.
Sit back, strap in, and be prepared to join us as we take you through a motorsports ride like no other. Here is the man who carries a steering wheel in one hand and a mic in the other, Jim Beaver.
Good morning. Welcome to the Down and Dirty Radio Show, powered by Polaris RZR. Jim Beaver holding down on what is going to be one hell of a show today. Man, you talk about guest lineups. We've got X Games gold medalist. That's right, Mr. Slammin' Sammy Halbert, winner of flat track at the X Games this past weekend, taking home that gold medal. Sammy's going to be calling in here in hour number one. We've also got Mr. Kyle Larson. You see him up there in the hunt for a points championship in NASCAR this year, driving for Ganassi Racing. He's going to be on the line as well in hour number one. Then hour number two, we got my good friend Joe Dungan, who was on the ground floor at the X Games, also the man behind the Terracross Championship. He's going to be on the line. And then we've also got Torque winner Andrew Carlson, his first ever Pro 2 race, taking home the win. Insane feat, and Andrew Carlson's going to be on the line, calling in, talking about that. Off-road racer, he's also a snowcross racer, so lots of tie-ins there. We're going to have him on the line. We're going to talk a ton of X Games today. We got Torque results. Formula D was up in Canada, and then we had this very controversial barrel roll from Jaguar, claiming a world record that's already been done 3 times. So we're going to be talking about that as well. So lots coming at you. Tweet me at JimBeaver15 if you got questions. We'll be back after this on the Down and Dirty Radio Show, powered by Polaris RZR.
Hey, I'm RJ Anderson, factory Polaris driver, and I drive Polaris because it's the most capable, race-ready off-road vehicle on the market.
When R.J. Anderson wanted to set a world record for the longest UTV jump in history, not once but twice, what company did he trust? Polaris and their championship-winning RZR XP1000. R.J. is a UTV champion behind the wheel of Polaris vehicles, and he exclusively trusts the Polaris RZRs to bring him race wins and championships against some of the toughest off-road racers in the world. The same Polaris RZRs RJ has won championships in, set world records in, and conquered the Wall of Death in XP1K2 are available to you at your local Polaris dealer. Take the advice of world record holder RJ Anderson and visit Polaris on the web at Polaris.com to see the full lineup of Polaris RZR vehicles, or follow them on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at Polaris RZR. For 100 years, General Tire has provided tires for your lifestyle, your adventure, your anywhere. Born from competition, the Grabber tire offers the durability and off-road traction you demand in a tire. We put these tires to the test in the harshest off-road racing conditions to give you a tire that will make your anywhere possible. So let us take you on your next big adventure. Tweet us photos at General Tire, hashtag anywhere is possible. Because with General Tire, anywhere is possible.
The Subaru WRX and WRX STI, a 268-horsepower turbocharged Subaru Boxer engine, rockets the WRX around corners and down straightaways. A race-ready 305-horsepower turbocharged Subaru Boxer engine keeps the WRX STI a rally legend. The Subaru WRX and WRX STI, it's not a sibling rivalry, it's a tag team. Get the latest from Subaru Rally Team USA at Subaru.com/rally.
Looking to have some fun on four wheels? Dirtfish Rally School has you covered. Packing as much adrenaline and adventure as you can handle into high-performance all-wheel drive and rear-wheel drive Subaru rally cars is where the fun begins at Dirtfish. Just 30 minutes outside of Seattle in Snoqualmie, you'll get a chance to train up to 3 full days with some of the country's best instructors and be put through the high-octane rush of rally on mud, dirt, and tarmac. Get started today and call 425-888-7715 or visit us online at dirtfish.com and use code 911 for a 15% discount. As certain as the sun rises and sets around the world, OTSFF Group is dedicated to providing flexible, comprehensive, and reliable transportation solutions. Air transportation, ocean freight, ground transportation, or a combination of services. We offer innovative and custom-built packages specifically designed to meet your transportation needs. OTSFF Group has been keeping shipments moving globally for nearly 2 decades. OTSFF Group, flexible logistics services designed for you. More information at OTSFF.com. Welcome back to the Down and Dirty Radio Show, powered by Polaris Razor, coming out swinging on another Tuesday morning, or Wednesday for you that listen in national syndication on networks across the country. And, man, it's been a big weekend. Man, X Games going off in Minneapolis. And, this was one of those, I think this was a defining moment for X Games this year. And obviously, X Games is a motorsports show. I'm a big action sports fan. We talk a lot of this on my podcast, Project Action, over there on Podcast One. If you aren't subscribing to that, I guess this is where I give my token plug, right? If you're not listening to that, it's my other show. Please do. It's over there, podcastone.com or iTunes. Rate, review, subscribe. It's the easiest way to get it, but love it when you give ratings and reviews. Much appreciated. We talk some action sports, and we have some celebrities and some race car drivers and a bunch of stuff. It's kind of like a catch-all potpourri for everything I like that not necessarily is like hardcore racing content like we cover on this show. But X Games, I mean, growing up, it was a big part of my life. Like it literally, come summertime when Summer X, and I know at the beginning it was like every 2 years, and then they made it an every year thing. I'm going way back. Some of you probably don't even remember it was like an every other year thing to start with, right? That's back when it was called the Extreme Games, which is the lamest name ever. Best thing they ever did was drop the Extreme and just call it X Games. But, it was a big deal for me, and it seemed like X Games kind of lost its way, and part of it I think is they were in Los Angeles for a long time. And people in L.A., they take things for granted, right? Because they're the entertainment capital of the world. And you literally have everything at your fingertips. I mean, on any given night, you've got some of the best bands in concert at one venue. You've got the Lakers playing. You could have, the Dodgers, in the playoffs, or, there's just, now they got 2 football teams, but, you've got surfing, you've got action sports contests, you've got racing, you name it, and it's comedy clubs. I mean, everything in Hollywood, movie premieres, it's everything. Los Angeles is the entertainment capital of the world, right? So you have everything at your fingertips, and I think it was there in LA so long that people just, they took it for granted. It was like, I ain't going to go to X Games this year. It'll be here next year. Like, why? I just don't feel like going, right? Everybody else on every other area of the country, I mean, it was, when it was in Rhode Island or when it was in Philly, in places like that, I mean, it was people clamored for this. It was a big deal, and it was the only thing happening, and I think it kind of lost its way when it was in Los Angeles. And then I'm a motorsports guy, right? But they brought in so many motorsports disciplines. It became like a motorsports festival, which isn't a bad thing. But the action sports that basically were the basis of X Games kind of went away. And, and it's all right to grow, but you've got to honor your roots at the same time. I mean, we've done this on the radio show, right? We started out as an off-road, and rally show, and We brought in drifting, and we brought in Supercross. And, now, look, we've got Kyle Larson on air. 5 years ago, I never figured we'd be covering NASCAR in the show. And, and here we are. And we're never, I don't want to say never, but, we're not going to become a NASCAR show. I promise you that. And you're not going to hear me break down the weekend racing. And there's plenty of shows doing that, right? We're a personality-driven show. It's all about the personalities. Kyle Larson is a dynamic personality in NASCAR. I want to talk to him. It's like Antron Brown. We've had him on air. Am I an NHRA guy? Not so much, but I'm an Antron Brown guy because this dude's got personality, right? So we're going to get him on. Same with Courtney Force, people like that. Like, I'm a personality. I want to talk to the best personalities. So, but we've stayed true to our roots at the same time, right? I mean, and we still talk off-road. We still talk rally. We got Andrew Carlson on air today and, taking his very first ever Pro 2 win in his first ever race. I want to talk to guys like that too. So we've stayed true to our roots while we've expanded. I think X Games kind of lost that for a while. And, moving to Texas, moving to Austin was a big move for them. And, I think it definitely paid dividends, and you could see kind of the shifting of the guard, and it became more of a mix of action sports and motorsports. And then last year when it was at Austin, they kind of stripped away even more of the motorsports events, and it was kind of like, wow, where are we headed? And then they went to Minneapolis. I'm just going to say it right now, best X Games in a very, very long time. Now, granted, would I love to see Gymkhana Grid, Rallycross, I loved Endurocross, even something with Razors. I think that is the future of motorsport and X Games. I think we're going to have UTV racing at some point. Maybe something similar to Terracross, some iteration, but it would be so great for X Games. But, and you could bring back these personalities, the Brian Deegans of the world and guys like that who aren't in X now. But what I'm saying is I think Minneapolis is their foot, and they're like, no, we remember our roots. This is what formed X Games. It's not that we don't love motorsports, we don't love all these other cool things that's going on, but we need to be true to ourselves. And I think that's what they did. They made a statement at Minneapolis, an amazing venue, amazing weather. Minnesota in the summertime is literally, there's 3 months a year where Minnesota is the greatest state in the country. And I spend 2 weeks there every July for the 4th of July. I just got back from there, so I know. But I'm just saying, like, it's an amazing state. They've got an amazing action sports scene there. You wouldn't think they do, but they do. I mean, Levi LaValle's from there. They've got motocross. They've got wakeboarding. They've got some amazing skate parks. So I think this was X Games' way of saying, look, we remember what built us, and we're putting this foot forward. Now, if they continue down this path, but maybe next year they do bring in Endurocross back, or they bring in some kind of UTV racing. And I'm not saying bring in 8 motorsports events, and go crazy. But, I could see that, and I think it would make sense. So I don't know. I applaud X Games. I know there's been a lot of people like, nobody cares about X Games. You got to know, too, the original X Games demographic. There's very few of us now that still follow this, right? I mean, I was around for day one at X Games, been a fan. I've never missed one on TV. I can remember the very first X Games ever in Rhode Island, but the guys I grew up with, I mean, you see guys like Kevin Robinson now, and he's retired, and, he's out there, kind of doing commentary and things like that. So I don't know. I think X Games, an amazing job they did. I've got a lot of friends over there at ESPN and X Games, and tip of the cap to them. We're definitely going to talk more X Games later on in the show. Some of the storylines. Obviously, we've got X Games gold medalist slamming Sammy Halbert. He's going to be on the show here in hour number 1, probably about 30 minutes away from that interview, 15, 20 minutes away. I don't know, something like that. But, so, I mean, we're definitely covering X Games today. And Flat Track, it's one of those, the new event X Games brought in a couple years ago, and it's a third year for it. Sammy's first gold medal, but it's become a fan favorite. I'm kind of excited to see, talk to him, too. They did this one out at Mall of America. So a little bit different. It wasn't actually at U.S. Bank Stadium. So can't wait to catch up with him. That's coming up in hour number 1. Also got to give a big shout out to us, episode 300. We're about 2 weeks out from that, episode 300, and we are lining up some amazing guests for that show. But the guest list isn't booked and I want your feedback. So tweet me at JimBeaver15, leave me messages, Instagram me, DM me, whatever you got to do. Let me know what's going on in your world. But I want to know who you want on this show for episode 300. I don't care if it's a Formula One driver. I don't care if it's somebody that's, races motocross in Europe or MotoGP, or if it's a legend of desert racing. You tell me who you want to hear, because we are booking out what is going to be one of the biggest guest lineups in motorsports radio history for episode 300. And if there's somebody that you got out there and they're a dream guest, you want to hear this interview, let me know, man. We got like 2 weeks to go, so I can still book them. We're working on booking this thing out. So would love to hear your guys' feedback on that. And then don't forget, next week we've got our regular show. I think we're going to air next week's show, our live online show on Monday. We're going to air the live online show on Monday. It'll air Wednesday in national syndication. But then Wednesday will also be live from the Polaris Razor dealer show online at downanddirtyshow.com. So you definitely don't want to miss that one. And, man, lots coming up here. But we're going to take a break. We come back. We got Kyle Larson on the line here on the Down and Dirty Radio Show, powered by Polaris Razor. I'm Polaris rider Jim Beaver. I race trophy trucks professionally, host a Down and Dirty radio show, and also travel the country announcing motorsports events. I've seen it all, and trust me, I've done most of it. So when it comes time to relax on the weekend, nothing is better than taking time with my family in our Razor vehicles. They've got the reliability I need to just pick up and go explore the desert, dunes, or trail, and have the capability to attack even the harshest terrain. If you're looking for some of the most reliable and safest, and hands down most capable off-road machines in the world, look no further than Polaris and their award-winning lineup of Razor vehicles. Whether you want your daughter to experience off-road driving for the first time in a Razor 170 like me, take the entire family out in a Razor XP4 1000 on the weekend, or shred the desert and dunes in the all-new Razor XP 1000 Fox Edition, Polaris has you handled. Take my advice and join me and some of the best drivers in the world by driving a Polaris Razor. Check out the full Polaris Razor lineup at Polaris.com, or follow them on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at Polaris Razor. Your life demands a tire that provides durability, comfort, and performance, and that's what General Tire delivers for you. From the all-season grip of the Grabber UHP to the comfort and on-road manners of the Grabber HTS to the durability and off-road traction of the Grabber AT2, General has a tire that will help get you where you need to go. So let us take you on your next big adventure. Tweet us at General Tire, hashtag anywhere is possible, because with General Tire, anywhere is possible.
The Subaru WRX and WRX STI, a 268 horsepower turbocharged Subaru Boxer engine, rockets the WRX around corners and down straightaways. A race-ready 305 horsepower turbocharged Subaru Boxer engine keeps the WRX STI a rally legend. The Subaru WRX and WRX STI, it's not a sibling rivalry, it's a tag team. Get the latest from Subaru Rally Team USA at Subaru.com/rally.
Are you looking for a place to push yourself behind the wheel and see how your driving skills stack up? Dirtfish Rally School is that place. Located on 315 acres of pristine automotive playground at the foot of the Cascade Mountains in Snoqualmie, Washington, right outside of Seattle, Dirtfish Rally School is a one-of-a-kind place where everyone from first-time drivers to seasoned professionals like Bucky Lassick and Antoine Lestage can push themselves to their limit. Whether driving the high-performance rally-prepped all-wheel drive Subaru Impreza STI is what you're looking for, or you'd rather hang it all out in the rear-wheel drive Subaru BRZs, Dirtfish Rally School has something for everyone. Classes are available from 2 hours to 3 full days and feature instructors with over 150 years of combined racing experience. Whether you're looking to become the best and get an edge on the competition, or just looking to freshen your skills behind the wheel, Dirtfish Rally School is the place to go. For more information on registering for classes, visit Dirtfish on the web at dirtfish.com, or to check out the latest happenings from Dirtfish, follow them on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at Dirtfish Rally. Welcome back to the Down and Dirty Radio Show, powered by Polaris Razor. Jim Beaver here, joined on the line by Kyle Larson. Sounds like you guys are having a pretty good run up there in New Hampshire so far, man. Looks like leading practice earlier today.
Yeah. First practice in the Cup car was pretty good. So, they put some VHT down up top, so it's helped us out a little bit.
Yeah. Well, I know kind of the big news coming out of this week, and I don't want to dwell on it, but I know you guys had some, you've lost your crew chief for a couple of races now. I mean, how does that affect the mindset moving forward? I mean, into this weekend and the next few races, and I know obviously Indy, the big one, here about a week out. But, how's that affect you guys' mindset? Obviously, you have a great showing there at New Hampshire. I mean, is there, business as usual for you guys?
Yeah, it stinks that we can't have Chad on the pit box the next 3 weeks, but we've got some good people in our organization to fill in for him and do a good job. I think it's already shown with us being just as fast as normal, leading first practice. So we got 3 weekends without Chad, but hopefully we can turn it into a positive thing.
Yeah. Well, and I know you guys have been super consistent this year. I know, regardless of, the points, I mean, you guys were leading. Now you're in second. I mean, you're right there in the hunt. I mean, how has that been? I mean, it seems like, you get on a roll in Cup, and it seems like, kind of things just, roll from one weekend to the next. And how has that been with you guys finding that consistency this year? Because you guys have been, you're right there in the hunt every single weekend.
Yeah, it's been a lot of fun this year. Our race cars have been really, really good all year long. So it's allowed us to, be more patient and with that comes those consistent runs. So, we got a couple wins, a lot of second place finishes. We were leading the points up until the penalty. So yeah, it's been a solid season and hopefully we can keep it going.
Yeah, and how did the changes this year? I mean, with the format of the races, how does that affect your mindset as a driver? I mean, it used to be, you knew going into an event, you had to burn off 200 laps just consecutively, and now, with the stages, it's kind of thrown things, and changed things up. Obviously, you guys, it seems like have risen to the occasion, but you as a driver, I mean, how do you attack race weekends? Is it any different than it has been in years past?
Yeah, I think the stage racing's been good. It's kind of broke the races up into, obviously three different stages, and it's to me it's made them feel shorter, or the races feel shorter, and then also kind of adds some more intensity throughout the race. You got 3 checkered flags you're going for, and bonus points and points that'll take you into the championship or the playoffs there. So. Yeah, it's been a good change, and I definitely think it's made the racing more exciting.
Yeah, well, and I got to talk about, excitement here. I got to bring this up. Here a couple of weeks back, man, you won 4 races in 2 weeks, and I think you took 3 wins on 3 consecutive days. And I know you like to call yourself, kind of a throwback, and you'll run anything at any given time, man. But that's pretty impressive by anybody's standards. I mean, that had to have been a heck of a lot of fun there over that 2-week period to take, so many different victories in so many different disciplines.
Yeah, for sure. It was really cool. We won a Tuesday night show with the Outlaws, and then won the Cup race at Michigan, and then the next 2 nights I won a sprint car race in Ohio. So that made it 4, and then we didn't have very good runs in Sonoma or wherever we ran the week after Sonoma, Daytona, and then I won 3 in a row in Pennsylvania in the sprint cars. So it was a good month for me, and hopefully I got some more wins left in me for the rest of the year.
Yeah, you feel like jumping around in different cars. I mean, it re-energizes you as a driver. I mean, I know me, I race in off-road, and I try and, race in multiple different classes and vehicles and things like that, because to me, it just, I don't want to say I ever get bored racing a trophy truck, but sometimes it's fun just to shake things up, and it kind of reinvigorates me as a driver. I mean, you feel it that way with you, with the Cup car, and then going to sprint cars or World of Outlaws. It kind of, it keeps you fresh and keeps you on your toes because you're always kind of learning something new.
Yeah, I think it, it's fun to go race a bunch of different types of cars, but it also, I think, just the more I get to race kind of helps benefit me when I come run the Cup cars. So I always look forward to the midweek shows that I get to run, and hopefully, I can keep doing it for, a long time to come, because I really do think it benefits me, and I think my team owner, Chip Ganassi, is starting to believe that as well.
Yeah, I know there for a while. I read some articles where he was a bit apprehensive, but I feel like now he's kind of starting to embrace it. Especially with the way you guys are running this year in Cup, man. It seems like it seems like he started to embrace you going out and running all these different disciplines, because I feel like you're bringing it back to the Cup side of things.
Yeah, I mean, I think he would be totally happy if I told him I never race a sprint car again, but I think he's starting to be okay with it now.
Yeah. Well, and how, and going back to your background, one thing I've always liked about you is you're kind of a product of the system. I mean, you've gone up the ladder, and you've raced, countless different kinds of sprint cars, and and you've climbed your way up through the ranks. I mean, how do you think that makes you as a driver? I mean, there's been a lot of people that have had funding and different things, and they springboard and skip past a lot of things. I mean, you were never one to do that. Do you feel like all that experience you gained and in the different levels and the different disciplines, has made you the driver you are now? Because it doesn't matter if it's short track or road course. I mean, it seems like you're pretty darn good in everything, man.
Yeah, thanks. I don't know. I'm glad I grew up the way I did, racing dirt cars, because they're a lot probably tougher to drive than the Cup car, just because they have way more horsepower and the track's always changing and stuff like that. So I think you learn a lot, and you're also getting to race way more than a lot of the guys that grew up pavement racing. Those guys maybe would run 30 to 40 times a year, where I was racing. In 2012, I think I ran 120 something races. So, I'm extremely thankful to grow up racing the vehicles that I did, and then also making it to the Cup level without having to bring any funding.
Well, and I got to ask, too, because I know that there was a point in your career where you were kind of eyeing IndyCar, and I know with their ladder system, it brought funding for certain victories and certain divisions and things like that. But I got to ask now, because, you've been able to do some road racing with Chip and the team, you're lucky that you're in one of those teams that has, different divisions that run IndyCar and NASCAR and road racing. I mean, is there any itch in the back of your mind at some point, like, hey, I really would like to go and try that IndyCar stuff at some point?
Not really. I know a lot of people said I was thinking about going to IndyCar, but I never really was. Okay. NASCAR was kind of always where I wanted to end up. If IndyCar ride came about, I would have probably taken it, but, I'm glad I'm racing NASCAR. I would love to run the Indy 500 someday, but I don't think I would ever really want to run a full season of IndyCar, even though the season's really short and it would allow me to go do a lot of other racing, but, I'm enjoying what I'm doing right now, and if I could run the 500, though, I would like to.
Yeah. Well, and then looking at next year, I know you're loving road courses. It looks like they added another road course to the schedule next year, so that's got to have you pretty pumped to see that on on the schedule. It's a new track too, so.
It's kind of a road course, I guess.
Road oval, I guess they're calling it.
I don't know. Yeah. I don't know how it'll be, but we'll see.
Yeah. So, all right, man, we got 7-8 races out from the chase. I mean, what do you guys need to do to stay up on top and and keep plugging away here, make it to the chase and make a run at this championship?
Yeah, I think we're probably the second best car right now, so we just got to continue to work hard. The 78, I would say, would be quite a bit better than the rest of the field, but I'm really confident in our team that we can find the speed that we need to compete with him everywhere. So, hopefully we can gain some more bonus points going into the leading up to the playoffs, and then make it to Homestead. I think if we can make it to Homestead, I'd have a really good shot at the championship.
Yeah. Any you as a driver, any races you got earmarked coming up that you're really excited about?
I'd say Indy. Indy is always a top one on everybody's list, so I'd for sure love to win there.
All right, man. Well, I appreciate the time, Kyle. Best of luck this weekend in New Hampshire and, and at Indy. And we've got some road courses coming up. Looks like you guys are going to have quite a mix, on the schedule here the next month.
Yep. Yeah, it'll be fun times.
All right. Thanks a lot, Kyle. Take it easy, my friend.
Yep. See you. Bye.
Okay. All right, and that was Kyle Larson driver for Chip Ganassi Racing in NASCAR in the Monster Energy Cup Series. But great to have Kyle on, young gun. This guy coming out of Southern California, and he is definitely making a name for himself. It's crazy to look back through his career, man, just coming out of SoCal, and he's raced literally just about every kind of sprint car you can even imagine. World of Outlaws, and he's definitely a throwback. He's a Robbie Gordon type, I guess. For a lot of you fans that tune in here, but Tony Stewart, Mario Andretti, AJ Foyt. This guy, he'll drive anything, and just an amazingly talented kid. And I say kid, man, still super, super young, but he's sitting there. He's second in points currently, heading into New Hampshire this past weekend. Obviously, at this point, this was pre-recorded right before the New Hampshire race. But Kyle Larson, just an amazingly talented individual, and super stoked to have him on the show. And you look back, just what he's done recently. I mean, there was that stretch there. We talked about it. 4 race wins in 2 weeks. World Outlaws, a couple of sprint car victories, a NASCAR Cup victory. I mean, who does that? It's crazy. We're talking elite level racing, and this guy is just absolutely killing it. He's won at Daytona in road racing in 24 hours at Daytona, teaming with some of his Ganassi teammates from the IndyCar side of things. Just an amazingly talented individual. Super pumped to have him on the show. It's been kind of fun for us, change it up a bit and throw in some IndyCar and some NASCAR and some NHRA drivers, and I think we're going to do a bit more of that, as well as the action motorsports that we are known for. So we're going to take a short break here on the Down and Dirty Radio Show, powered by Polaris RZR, and we'll be back after this break. I'm Polaris rider Jim Beaver. I race trophy trucks professionally, host a Down and Dirty radio show, and also travel the country announcing motorsports events. I've seen it all, and trust me, I've done most of it, so when it comes time to relax on the weekend, nothing is better than taking time with my family in our RZR vehicles. They've got the reliability I need to just pick up and go explore the desert, dunes, or trail, and have the capability to attack even the harshest terrain. If you're looking for some of the most reliable and safest, and hands down most capable off-road machines in the world, look no further than Polaris and their award-winning lineup of RZR vehicles. Whether you want your daughter to experience off-road driving for the first time in a RZR 170 like me, take the entire family out in a RZR XP4 1000 on the weekend, or shred the desert and dunes in the all-new RZR XP 1000 Fox Edition, Polaris has you handled. Take my advice and join me and some of the best drivers in the world by driving a Polaris RZR. Check out the full Polaris RZR lineup at Polaris.com, or follow them on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at Polaris RZR. For 100 years, General Tire has provided tires for your lifestyle, your adventure, your anywhere. Born from competition, the Grabber tire offers the durability and off-road traction you demand in a tire. We put these tires to the test in the harshest off-road racing conditions to give you a tire that will make your anywhere possible. So let us take you on your next big adventure. Tweet us photos at General Tire, hashtag anywhere is possible. Because with General Tire, anywhere is possible.
Life is all about sound, the sound of sports, the sound at the racetrack, and the sound of your vehicle. Don't drive around listening to this. Drive around listening to the sound of performance. Gibson Performance. Gibson Performance Exhaust is the company who can turn this into this. Remember that life is all about sound, and Gibson Exhaust is the sound of performance. Check out your next catback exhaust system, headers, muffler, or UTV exhaust at GibsonPerformance.com and get more power and more sound.
Since 1970, KC Highlights has been designing and manufacturing performance lighting for off-road and motorsports, beginning with the legendary Daylighter up until today's revolutionary Flex, Pod, and Pro 6 lighting systems. KC Highlights offers a full line of halogen, HID, and LED lighting solutions for your off-road vehicle. Looking for the best quality lighting? Looking for the brand champions choose? You're looking for KC Highlights. Find out more information at kchighlights.com or follow them on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at KC Highlights.
The Subaru WRX and WRX STI. A 268 horsepower turbocharged Subaru Boxer engine rockets the WRX around corners and down straightaways. A race-ready 305 horsepower turbocharged Subaru Boxer engine keeps the WRX STI a rally legend. The Subaru WRX and WRX STI, it's not a sibling rivalry, it's a tag team. Get the latest from Subaru Rally Team USA at Subaru.com/rally.
Welcome back to the Down and Dirty Radio Show, powered by Polaris Razor. Jim Beaver, Amy Hood here. Welcomed on the line by X Games gold medalist, slamming Sammy Halbert. How's everything going, Sammy?
It's going good. How about you guys?
Doing well, man, but not as good as you. That's X Games, man. That's got to feel pretty darn good to have that gold, around your neck. I know you got a silver medal from a couple years back, but that gold, it's got to feel mighty good.
Yeah, I mean, the silver was cool, but like the gold is a whole nother level. I didn't know, I was so fast all day. I was kind of thinking about what it'd be like, but I definitely just kind of kept the thoughts out of my head and just got it done. And winning the gold is over the top, no doubt. My phone's never been so blown up, and just tons of people reaching out, and lots of good things kind of in the works, and it's been really cool, a really cool experience. And it's neat that our event's on Thursday, the opening day of X Games, and so then I plan to just hang out the rest of the weekend. So it's gives a chance to enjoy and just celebrate the win and stuff like that. So definitely made the weekend a whole lot better. Getting the win definitely feels a lot cooler. It feels so cool. It got me thinking I should probably win more often. It's kind of
nice. And that's what I was going to ask you, because you guys, we'll talk about your flat track schedule here in a minute, but you guys have an insane schedule. And I didn't know, because, it being on the first night, it's pretty cool that you were actually able to hang out and see a lot of the other events, because I didn't know if you guys immediately that's over and you guys got to, throw the bike in the trailer and you guys are off to some area of the country, you know what I mean, because you got another race to get to. I mean, you guys' schedule is pretty nutty.
Yeah, no doubt. I could have, if I wanted to, just rolled on and did another event that weekend, but decided to it wasn't a national or whatever, so I decided to take and enjoy the weekend. But the schedule's intense this year with 18 nationals and then just a whole bunch of other events. I literally don't have a single open weekend for the rest of the year until mid-October. So stay on the road and just keep racing, making money, getting wins. It's not a bad lifestyle if you can just keep it healthy.
Yeah, well, and how many, obviously you got a good mix of tracks, and I know even, is it Peoria, the one where you guys throw in where you guys are actually on dirt bikes because there's jumps and stuff, right? But I mean, how many bikes do you have that you got to tote around for these different venues? I mean, the same bike you run on, half mile or 1 mile, I mean, or do you guys have to make, changes to the bike and gearing and setups and stuff?
Yeah, no doubt. There's a lot of changes that go on. Peoria TT has a jump, and so typically we go there and we ride 450cc dirt bikes. But this year they actually changed the rules, which is unheard of. Now we ride our twin cylinder bikes on all the tracks, just to make it a little more interesting. So we're instead of pulling out the 450s for Peoria TT and the short tracks and stuff, we're gonna ride our fire breathing twins on the TTs and send that off the jump and see what happens.
It's like a Evel Knievel throwback, man. That's
yeah. Yeah, no doubt. They said they used to do it back in the day, way before I was born. So that's what they said they used to do. So we'll give her a shot. But so I mean, so mainly, I race the 450 still, on regional events and stuff like that, and then sometimes we'll have a 450 motocross based bike or a 450 framer or a Rotex framer. And then the Harley XR 750, it's a tried and true dirt track bike. That's what I won X Games on. And then also run a Yamaha FC07 twin dirt tracker. So definitely a wide mix of bikes. They got it in the fleet, and it definitely keeps you busy.
Well, it's got to be, it's got to be exciting for you because it seems like, I've been a flat track fan for a long, long time. We got a good family friend that used to race flat track back in the 70s, and so I've kind of followed it, but it seems like in the past 3 years, and it was even before X Games got thrown in there for you guys, but I felt like flat track was kind of making a comeback. And then I think, it was like X Games was like the shot in the arm that you guys needed. But I feel like you guys are finally once again getting your due, like on the national stage. Do you feel that way? Do you feel like fans are more involved in flat track now than say they were 5 years ago?
Yeah, no doubt. Stuff just started rolling. With MotoGP guys getting into it, doing it during the off season, doing it for training and bringing us over. And to the X Games, to now we're on NBC Sports Network. There's been a whole bunch of cool stuff happening. Over the winter, I went to Rossi's Ranch a couple times over the winter. Got to ride with him and his crew, and do a couple races overseas during the off season. And then the stands this year have been packed, so that's been really cool. Because we've had some good stuff happening, and some of our events have been banging with good crowds and stuff like that. But this year, literally every race has just been packed, and not, even with that, we still have all of our races streamed live online, so people can just watch it online, but we're still getting them up off the couch and into the stands, which that's that's the big thing. It's if we can get them up off the couch from watching it at home and get them in the stands, that's been solid. Everything's just been clicking this year, so it's been cool.
It's totally a different experience watching flat tracking live. I remember going to my very first, I went to the Daytona 200, and they had the flat tracking going on, in the evening time. And I grew up on a dirt bike, so I know the speeds of a regular motocross race, but I had no idea. You really do not get the full effect watching it on TV as you do being there, and literally seeing the speeds that you guys go down the straightaways and laying it into the corridor, into the corners. It's absolutely surreal to actually see it live. I definitely know what you mean by it's a whole different experience having the fans actually in the crowd, because I think they do have a new appreciation for flat track when they can see it live.
Yeah, no doubt. I remember as a kid going to the mile and getting on the inside, standing by the inside guardrail and watching them come by, a pack of Harleys come by, inches from the inside guardrail, sitting underneath it. It was so intense. I was like, there's no way I'm going to be able to do that, because watching it, it's it looks so intense. But after just doing it my whole life, it's just second nature, like anything else. But yeah, it's a cool experience for sure.
Yeah, when you head into an event like X Games, man, that I know they do their best to build the best possible track, but at the end of the day, they're building a track in the parking lot of the Mall of America. You know what I mean? So there's only so much grooming and so good. Watching on TV, I know they made a lot of adjustments from the start to the finish. You know what I mean? But how do you approach an event like that and come in? Because you kind of have an idea what the track's going to be like, but you don't really know until you get there. And I look at you, and dude, you were so far ahead of everybody all weekend long. It was just, it was like you were in a different planet than everybody else. How do you prepare, for an event like that where it's all unknown coming into it?
Yeah, no doubt. For me, I do well in situations where we're going to a new track. I tend to be able to adapt pretty quickly, hit my setup. So we brought a good setup right from the word go. We were pretty much the fastest, and that was a little nerve-wracking, leading up to the final and stuff, just because, it'd be, okay, let's go for the heat race, and then 30 minutes later, we actually do the heat race, and so I'm ready to rip, and then we're just waiting, and I just, going up to the final, I knew it was my race to lose, basically, so it's I knew I could get it done, but I was just ready for it to be over, because I didn't want anything to go wrong and whatnot, and luckily, nothing did go wrong, but, yeah, no doubt. They did a decent job on the track. When I got there, I thought it was going to be a lot worse than what it was, but they watered it really good. And then with the cloud cover we had, the track stayed really good and moist, and to where there was good grip and stuff like that. So I think a combination of the weather we had and they laid a good amount of water on it made for a pretty solid track. It was rough, but I don't mind the little bumps.
Yeah, well, this is third year for a flat track at X Games. You're a flat tracker, through and through. How does this event? obviously, you know, the championship, that's a big deal, but how does this one-off event, being that it's new, I mean, what does an X Games gold medal mean for you, I mean, in comparison to other event wins or say a championship at the end of the year? I mean, you know, how does this rank because it's new? I mean, you know, you hear about other action sports athletes and, you know, and it's the pinnacle, man. You win an X Games gold medal, it's like the Super Bowl, right? I mean, how is it for you guys in flat track, though?
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, I think for us, like, it's definitely huge. It's different at the same time. Like, it's not part of the championship, so I don't get no championship points. But I can win. There's 18 nationals I got a shot to win to get that. But we only one shot to win an X Games gold medal, and the amount of media exposure you get from that with being live on ESPN and just it's unique. Like, I'd say it's possibly the biggest win that you could get for the season. So, yeah, it's over the top, no doubt, for a flat tracker to go to the X Games. I never thought we'd be racing flat track in the X Games, but it's super cool that we get a chance to do it and a chance to win a gold medal and to get it done myself. Like, definitely a lifetime achievement for me.
Yeah, well, I think that's what's cool. It's actually kind of – you've seen a lot of motorsports events. I mean, rally racing went away. Off-road trucks was there for 2 years. That was done. I mean, you've got endurocross that went away. You know, I know they've even had, like, women's motocross thrown in there at one point. Like, there's all these motorsports events that have come and gone, and it's like flat track. Even with the move to Minneapolis, I'm like, all right, they've got a chance to drop flat track if they want to, and they brought it back. Like, you know, I know Harley's been really invested in that, but at the end of the day, I mean, you know, it doesn't matter how much invested, you know, the manufacturers are. If the product, you know, isn't drawing ratings, they're not going to keep it around. And I think it's saying something for what you guys are doing, because obviously X Games likes what's happening, because the ratings must be really, really good, because they're keeping you around when all these other motorsports events are being put out to pasture, man.
Yeah, it's cool. I hope we get to keep coming back. You know, I haven't heard for sure. I definitely heard rumors we might be coming back again, and hope it works out. Like, some of our races are just so awesome to watch, but it really depends on the track a lot. So with X Games being sort of like makeshift tracks, the races have been like pretty good, but it's not like the best flat track race ever, other than just like what's on the line, like the stakes on the line make it good. But I mean, we can only do so much on a parking lot track versus like a big old cushion half mile or something where we really lay it down. But yeah, regardless, like we'll go race wherever they can have us, and so I'm down to keep coming back.
Awesome, man. Well, Amy, you got anything?
I also like a little bit about the X Games lineup too, though, Jim. You know what I think? What keeps the flat tracking extremely interesting. You know, you have all these different generations of flat trackers even kind of coming back, you know, dueling out. Like, you know, James Foley showed up, and you have these different walks of life kind of coming to defend their title, and I feel like you don't get that as much on a typical national race, like having these guys come out of the woodwork to line up again at X Games, I think, which also makes the stakes a little higher, and makes for some interesting racing, because you never really know what, you know, someone who used to be a flat tracker, who switched disciplines, you know, but coming back to, you know, see what kind of gas is left in the tank. I think that makes it for, you know, a really interesting event.
Yeah.
Yeah, no doubt. It's good to have them guys bring them in and stuff like that. And as long as they don't beat me, I'm cool with it.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. How was it having the starting gate? I know that was something they changed it up a bit. How was that having the starting gate?
It was cool. Like, man, in the past, I really struggled with the starts at X Games, and the starts there are so critical, like more critical than most races. But this year, I finally, like, third time's a charm, kind of got it sorted out and figured out how to get a good start. But yeah, it's a little tricky because on the flat track bikes, we got big old wide handlebars, and so we're all stacked in there right next to each other, like a lot closer than you normally are. So it's a little nerve-wracking, like if you don't get the initial jump out of the hole, like just to get through there without clipping bars and stuff like that. So a little nerve-wracking, definitely a different experience, but when it goes well, it's well. And that's for me this year. I got out of the hole super clean each time, so that was nice.
Yeah. All right, man. We got to take a short break, but I appreciate you taking the time, Sammy, to call in, man. Congrats on the gold medal. I know definitely well earned, and looking forward to having you back next year and watching you defend it.
Sounds good. Thank you very much.
All right. Thanks a lot, Sammy.
Yeah, man.
Yeah. All right. We're going to take a short commercial break here on the Down and Dirty Radio Show, powered by Polaris Razor.
Hey, I'm RJ Anderson, factory Polaris driver, and I drive Polaris because it's the most capable, race-ready off-road vehicle on the market.
When RJ Anderson wanted to set a world record for the longest UTV jump in history, not once but twice, what company did he trust? Polaris and their championship-winning Razor XP1000. RJ is a UTV champion behind the wheel of Polaris vehicles, and he exclusively trusts the Polaris Razors to bring him race wins and championships against some of the toughest off-road racers in the world. The same Polaris Razors RJ has won championships in, set world records in, and conquered the Wall of Death in XP1K2 are available to you at your local Polaris dealer. Take the advice of world record holder RJ Anderson and visit Polaris on the web at Polaris.com to see the full lineup of Polaris Razor vehicles, or follow them on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at Polaris Razor. Do you race, or are you a weekend warrior? Have you checked on the date on your helmet recently? Don't get caught off guard by using an outdated helmet. Impact Racing, the leader in motorsport safety, has new SA 2015 helmets to fit your budget. Whether you're looking for a helmet with a full carbon fiber shell to take you to victory at the Indy 500, or just looking for some helmets for a weekend at Glamis, Impact Racing has a helmet for you. Find out more information at impactraceproducts.com or on Facebook at Impact Safety. Your life demands a tire that provides durability, comfort, and performance, and that's what General Tire delivers for you. From the all-season grip of the Grabber UHP to the comfort and on-road manners of the Grabber HTS to the durability and off-road traction of the Grabber AT2, General has a tire that will help get you where you need to go. So let us take you on your next big adventure. Tweet us at General Tire, hashtag anywhere is possible, because with General Tire, anywhere is possible.
Twister of Treasure is at Blue Water Resort and Casino for a chance to grab $2,500 in cash through August 30th.
Sundays from 3 till 5 and Wednesdays from 6 till 8 p.m. Participants are drawn for a chance to enter the Twister of Treasure money machine.
Count me in to enter the Twister of Treasure for a chance to grab the cash.
Blue Water Resort and Casino. Right on the water, right on the money.
MMA at its best, and it's back. It's the RUF 21. Live cage fights on the river in the Blue Water Resort and Casino showroom. Saturday, September 9th. See Armando Murillo versus Daviante Jones. Live for the title. Doors open at 6 p.m. Get your $25 ringside tickets now. General admission just $15. Tickets available online or at the gift shop. Live cage fights on the river.
Blue Water Resort and Casino. Right on the water, right on the money.
Welcome back to the Down and Dirty Radio Show, powered by Polaris Razor. Lots of fun catching up with Slammin' Sammy Halbert. And, if you like this show, we've also got my show, Project Action, over there on Podcast One. And, in addition to my show on Podcast One, they got some of the best podcasts in the world. And you know what you should do? You should go and download the all-new Podcast One app in the Apple App Store or on Google Play. There's no other podcast app like that. You can find out everything about your favorite shows and get the content from my show. You can find articles, social media episodes, make playlists. It's easy to comment and connect with other show fans, and we have our own little community over there. Share your favorite content, see behind-the-scenes photos, get 360 video, or watch a bunch of shows in virtual reality. There's over 1,000 videos on there right now. It's like you're in the studio with your favorite podcasters. It looks so cool with many things you can do, including fun things like rewards for listening. It's the Podcast One app, and it's all new, available in the Apple App Store and on Google Play. And make sure and rate, review, and subscribe to Project Action on Podcast One when you're over there. Lots of fun happening over there on Project Action. This next week, I've got Jason Hairston He was a professional football player for the San Francisco 49ers, but now he is the owner of one of the biggest hunting companies in the world. Not the biggest, but one of the biggest niche hunting companies in the world, named Kuiu. If you know what Kuiu is, but lots of fun with him. An amazing interview on brand building, hunting, NFL football, being a professional athlete, social media, and everything in between. I think you're going to enjoy it. It drops this Thursday on Project Action on Podcast One, and we're going to take a short break. When we come back, Amy Hood and I, we're going to be talking some torque, Formula Drift. We got Joe Duncan and Andrew Carlson on the line. I'm Polaris rider Jim Beaver. I race trophy trucks professionally, host a Down and Dirty radio show, and also travel the country announcing motorsports events. I've seen it all, and trust me, I've done most of it, so when it comes time to relax on the weekend, nothing is better than taking time with my family in our Razor vehicles. They've got the reliability I need to just pick up and go explore the desert, dunes, or trail, and have the capability to attack even the harshest terrain. If you're looking for some of the most reliable and safest, and hands down most capable off-road machines in the world, look no further than Polaris and their award-winning lineup of Razor vehicles. Whether you want your daughter to experience off-road driving for the first time in a Razor 170 like me, take the entire family out in a Razor XP4 1000 on the weekend, or shred the desert and dunes in the all-new Razor XP 1000 Fox Edition, Polaris has you handled. Take my advice and join me and some of the best drivers in the world by driving a Polaris Razor. Check out the full Polaris Razor lineup at Polaris.com or follow them on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at Polaris Razor. Welcome back to the Down and Dirty Radio Show, powered by Polaris Razor. Jim Beaver, Amy Hood here. We're about 5 minutes out from Joe Duncan calling in to talk some X Games. Amy just sent me a message. We're here live on the radio. We're texting each other back and forth between Canada. Oh, what is this crap?
Okay, so I'm, just got off talking about a little bit about X Games. So Josh Hill made a tweet, an Instagram post where he screenshotted this thing on the internet where you can buy retweets, and he put a comment that said, "Off the bike prep is a key in a lot of sports now." And oh my goodness, did it ever open a can of cyberbullying hatred between pro riders and free riders and the general public, and it is the most interesting thread I have read in a really, really long time. You guys got to go check it out. It's Josh Hill, but talking about best whip. A fan judge contest that utilizes Twitter, to vote for basically, an athlete winning a gold medal. I know my fair share thing about fan judges, Monster Jam, we have 3 events that are fan judges. And pretty often, depending on what side of the country, the closer to North Carolina that you are, the Gravedigger is surefire to win most events because of fan judging. So now this strikes up a lot of controversy that should there be fan judges in X Games? It's about the best of the best. It's about your athletic ability. And a lot of people are talking about all these retweets that you can purchase. You can buy packages online to help win X Games, basically. And, it also comes down to fan favorites, most popular on the internet, most popular athletes. And a lot of people do think that Tyler Behrman was cheated out of the gold medal in best whip. So what do you have to think about that, Jim?
What do I have to say? I'm looking at our time slot here, and I'm going, we got to go to break here in 15 seconds, but we've got 15 minutes dedicated to this later on in the show after we got Andrew Carlson. So we're going to circle back. In the meantime, I want to hear from you fans. Hit us up on Twitter without paying for your retweets, and we will take your questions. We'll take your questions here, but we're going to take a short break. We're definitely circling back to this here on the Down and Dirty Radio Show, powered by Polaris Razor.
Hey, I'm RJ Anderson, factory Polaris driver, and I drive Polaris because it's the most capable, race-ready off-road vehicle on the market.
When R.J. Anderson wanted to set a world record for the longest UTV jump in history, not once but twice, what company did he trust? Polaris and their championship-winning Razor XP 1000. RJ is a UTV champion behind the wheel of Polaris vehicles, and he exclusively trusts the Polaris Razors to bring him race wins and championships against some of the toughest off-road racers in the world. The same Polaris Razors RJ has won championships in, set world records in, and conquered the Wall of Death in XP1K2 are available to you at your local Polaris dealer. Take the advice of world record holder RJ Anderson and visit Polaris on the web at Polaris.com to see the full lineup of Polaris Razor vehicles, or follow them on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at Polaris Razor. For 100 years, General Tire has provided tires for your lifestyle, your adventure, your anywhere. Born from competition, the Grabber tire offers the durability and off-road traction you demand in a tire. We put these tires to the test in the harshest off-road racing conditions to give you a tire that will make your anywhere possible. So let us take you on your next big adventure. Tweet us photos at General Tire, hashtag anywhere is possible. Because with General Tire, anywhere is possible.
The Subaru WRX and WRX STI, a 268 horsepower turbocharged Subaru Boxer engine, rockets the WRX around corners and down straightaways. A race-ready 305 horsepower turbocharged Subaru Boxer engine keeps the WRX STI a rally legend. The Subaru WRX and WRX STI, it's not a sibling rivalry, it's a tag team. Get the latest from Subaru Rally Team USA at Subaru.com/rally.
Looking to have some fun on four wheels? Dirtfish Rally School has you covered. Packing as much adrenaline and adventure as you can handle into high-performance all-wheel drive and rear-wheel drive Subaru rally cars is where the fun begins at Dirtfish. Just 30 minutes outside of Seattle in Snoqualmie, you'll get a chance to train up to 3 full days with some of the country's best instructors and be put through the high-octane rush of rally on mud, dirt, and tarmac. Get started today and call 425-888-7715 or visit us online at dirtfish.com and use code 911 for a 15% discount.
MMA at its best, and it's back. It's the RUF 21. Live cage fights on the river in the Blue Water Resort and Casino Showroom. Saturday, September 9th. See Armando Murillo versus Deontay Jones. Live for the title. Doors open at 6 p.m. Get your $25 ringside tickets now. General admission just $15. Tickets available online or at the gift shop. Live cage fights on the river.
Blue Water Resort and Casino. Right on the water, right on the money.
Welcome back to the Down and Dirty Radio Show, powered by Polaris Razor, where things are picking up in hour number 2. I can tell you that already. We got right now on the line my good friend Joe Duncan in our Optimist segment. Don't forget, Terracross starts with Optimus, and so does this segment, brought to you by our good friends at Optimus Starters. And Joe Duncan, you were on the ground floor at X Games. I got to tell you, though, I know a person that is a good friend of yours, Andrew Carlson, taking his first Torque Pro 2 win this weekend in his very first ever race. He's coming on in the next segment, but you got to be pretty stoked on that, Joe.
Yeah, that's pretty awesome. Jumps up into Pro 2 and knocks out a win right off the bat. That's pretty sweet.
Yeah, it's definitely pretty sweet. So talking about pretty sweet, we had Sammy Halbert on, who obviously took the gold medal in flat track. And, he basically, all of us have come to the conclusion that Minneapolis is probably one of the best X Games venues ever. How are you feeling about that?
Well, as you know, I'm a little biased because it is our hometown, and 25 minutes from my front door is U.S. Bank Stadium, so that's some cool things. But I think that's the gist from all the athletes, the competitors, the staff, the crew, and after Sunday, listening to a bunch of the spectators and people that came, the sponsors, it's got to rank up in the top couple of X Games. You start off with a $1.1 billion facility. 90% of the X Games was indoors, so you take out that weather element, and not only is it indoors, but it feels like you're outdoors because of the way the stadium's designed. It's not a dome. It's not like the old Metrodome we had here where you're inside of a dark bubble. It is a true, almost like a greenhouse type facility with air conditioning. So 90-some degrees outside the one day, humid. People would walk outside, come back in all sweaty, and come inside the stadium to cool down instead of the opposite. So, just really cool to hear some of the athletes. Our good friend Jared McNeil, a couple gold medals, and unfortunately quarter pipe high air. His bike slipped out from underneath him, and he got a little banged up. He's going to be okay. Great doctor staff, medical staff at X Games, and our local hospital here. They get him all fixed up, and he's going to be good to go. Actually, hopefully, he'll be racing Terracross with us this year.
Oh, nice.
We almost had him with us last year, and we're trying to get that all put together. But no, he was saying that X Games just set the bar. Like this is what is needed, to keep doing and keep outperforming and keep expanding these sports, and they did it. They pulled it off in an amazing facility, and then the city itself. I mean, you get off your airplane, you jump on a tram, you go to your hotel. You don't have to rent rental cars. You don't have to drive around. There isn't all that extra BS. You're 5-minute to 10-minute walk from the stadium. Austin, you were 35, 45 minutes without traffic, 2 hours sometimes with traffic to and from the hotels. LA, you had a couple different venue sites, and you're 40 minutes away from each other. Other than having flat track, which was almost less than 20 minutes by the tram to 5-minute walk to flat track, that was the only thing that was of any distance. And then the great concert venue that they put on right out in front, right in downtown Minneapolis, in the park there in front of the stadium, just kind of that icing on the cake, if you will, to a great venue. So all in all, huge success. Heard nothing but compliments. Event 101, little learning curves here and there, but when all said and done, great team effort, great crew, athletes, amazing stuff they were doing this year on all the disciplines. So, yeah, excited, super excited.
Yeah, I don't know, as a fan watching at home, I mean, I think it's what X Games needed. It needed refreshed, and I think I was talking about it to open the show, and it got to the point where I think X Games kind of lost its way, and they kind of lost what was X Games. I mean, it almost turned into a motorsports festival there for a while. Not to say that I don't like motorsports and X Games, but I think this. Minneapolis, it was what X Games needed. You know what I mean? They found their roots, and it's like, all right, we're starting over here. We got an amazing venue. It was an amazing event. I think now, if they bring in, say UTV racing or, some type of, enduro cross or something like that, I think it's all right, but I think they found their way again, and now it's like, all right, let's rebuild this, because I think there for a while, X Games, it kind of had a I don't know what to say. They just kind of lost what made them X Games, and I think they found it this year, if that makes any sense.
Yeah, I think, some of the struggles with the outdoor venues and the cancellations, and, you leave that negative taste in people's mouth, and even in, even with the, staff and everything else, it's really hard. Austin, you canceled how many events over the years that were there, and then evacuation. I mean, it just wears on everybody, and yeah, I think this was an amazing thing. They're here. X Games is here for sure again next year, and who knows what'll happen. Let's see if the good old city of Minneapolis and Sports Commission, everybody can persuade them to stick around a little longer. I mean, there's only a few facilities like U.S. Bank Stadium in the country, so there's not a lot of options out there.
Yeah. So we got to switch gears here, though. This is the Optimus Optimus Terracross segment. We're only a month and a half out from Terracross kicking off, Joe Duncan. I mean, I'm looking at heydays and going, I probably ought to start booking my flights back there, what do we have up our sleeve? We got to, here's pretty quick. We got to start rolling out some Terracross announcements, I'm thinking.
Starting next week, yeah. We just wrapped up kind of one of our biggest events for the year here with X Games, and now it's Terracross time, and this weekend was a big boost. We had some great partners of ours and great sponsors and some athletes all at X Games, so it was a great way to get some things rolling. And RJ Anderson and Joey D were in town, and a bunch of the Polaris folks were down at X Games. So yeah, it was a good way to kind of round out everything else and roll right into heydays coming up here. Obviously, right here in Minnesota. So we've actually already started working on some things out at heydays. We've got some track updates that are going on, and we got some new vending stuff that we're working on out there. And we're actually in full on Terracross mode. We got loadout for X Games this week, and some of the stuff from X Games is actually heading right to heydays, so works out rather well.
Nice. Just take them up the road there about 30, 45 minutes away, and there you go.
About 45 minutes, straight shot right to heydays, so it's working out great. We have some of the same vendors and partners that work at heydays, work with us at Terracross, so it's a great little setup, and so logistics in full swing. As you know, coming up here at the end of July, early August, we got some big announcements coming, and super excited about multi-year deals and multi-year expansion of Terracross that's going to get announced here. So those things are all in full swing. We had some of those people were here in Minneapolis this last week and weekend. So excited for some announcements to come out and get back at all of our Terracross stuff.
Awesome. Well, thanks a lot, Joe. We got to take a short commercial break, but we'll do it again next week.
Sounds great. Thanks, Jimmy. Talk to you soon.
All right. Thanks, Joe. And we'll be back after this on the Down and Dirty Radio Show, powered by Polaris Razor. I'm Polaris rider Jim Beaver. I race trophy trucks professionally, host a Down and Dirty Radio Show, and also travel the country announcing motorsports events. I've seen it all, and trust me, I've done most of it. So when it comes time to relax on the weekend, nothing is better than taking time with my family in our Razor vehicles. They've got the reliability I need to just pick up and go explore the desert, dunes, or trail, and have the capability to attack even the harshest terrain. If you're looking for some of the most reliable and safest, and hands down most capable off-road machines in the world, look no further than Polaris and their award-winning lineup of Razor vehicles. Whether you want your daughter to experience off-road driving for the first time in a Razor 170 like me, take the entire family out in a Razor XP4 1000 on the weekend, or shred the desert and dunes in the all-new Razor XP 1000 Fox Edition, Polaris has you handled. Take my advice and join me and some of the best drivers in the world by driving a Polaris Razor. Check out the full Polaris Razor lineup at Polaris.com, or follow them on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at Polaris Razor. Looking to have some fun on four wheels? Dirtfish Rally School has you covered. Packing as much adrenaline and adventure as you can handle into high-performance all-wheel drive and rear-wheel drive Subaru rally cars is where the fun begins at Dirtfish. Just 30 minutes outside of Seattle in Snoqualmie, you'll get a chance to train up to 3 full days with some of the country's best instructors and be put through the high-octane rush of rally on mud, dirt, and tarmac. Get started today and call 425-888-7715 or visit us online at dirtfish.com and use code 911 for a 15% discount.
The Subaru WRX and WRX STI, a 268 horsepower turbocharged Subaru Boxer engine, rockets the WRX around corners and down straightaways. A race-ready 305 horsepower turbocharged Subaru Boxer engine keeps the WRX STI a rally legend. The Subaru WRX and WRX STI, it's not a sibling rivalry, it's a tag team. Get the latest from Subaru Rally Team USA at Subaru.com/rally.
MMA at its best, and it's back. It's the RUF 21. Live cage fights on the river in the Blue Water Resort and Casino Showroom. Saturday, September 9th. See Armando Murillo versus Daviante Jones. Live for the title. Doors open at 6 p.m. Get your $25 ringside tickets now. General admission just $15. Tickets available online or at the gift shop. Live cage fights on the river.
Blue Water Resort and Casino. Right on the water, right on the money.
Your life demands a tire that provides durability, comfort, and performance, and that's what General Tire delivers for you. From the all-season grip of the Grabber UHP to the comfort and on-road manners of the Grabber HTS to the durability and off-road traction of the Grabber AT2, General has a tire that will help get you where you need to go. So let us take you on your next big adventure. Tweet us at General Tire, hashtag anywhere is possible, because with General Tire, anywhere is possible. Welcome back to the Down and Dirty Radio Show, powered by Polaris Razor. Jim Beaver, Amy Hood here, and it looks like we're joined on the line by Torque winner Andrew Carlson. How's everything going, Andrew?
Good. Good to hear you guys.
Yeah.
Thanks for having me on the show.
No problem, man.
Yeah.
It's stoked to have you on. I know, there's been so many opportunities to have you on, and I'm glad it finally just slotted into place. But between Snowcross and now racing Torque, and I was actually up at your guys' shop, I think, in December for the X Games qualifier. We had a big party there after the snow bike qualifier event there. And I got to tell you, man, you guys have an amazing facility up there.
Yeah, thank you. You know, it's come a long way, and it kind of started out as just a family liking to race, and it's cool to see it grow into something that other people get to come enjoy, and you know that's why we do it, because we love racing, and it ends up being a cool deal. Like with my busy schedule, I wasn't able to be at a lot of the events like that, the snowbike qualifier, so I get to miss some of it, but definitely. It's cool I like being out there, and then for a motorhead, it's definitely a fun playground.
Yeah. So, I got to ask, because I know, your roots are in snowcross racing. How did you make the transition to off-road trucks? I mean, how did that transition happen? Because I know it happened into Pro Light and now obviously Pro 2. We'll talk about that in a minute. But how was that progression for you guys going, hey, we're running snowcross, to now all of a sudden you're in off-road trucks?
Yeah, so for me, it actually started in a Razor. I got signed on with Polaris through Snowcross. I think it was 2011. It was my first year with them, and that was, right when they were coming out with the 900 and some of that. And had never done anything in four-wheel at all. So when I got signed with them, I got a Razor and started racing some local stuff. And we started doing stuff at EOX, racing them. And actually, a lot of the engineers from Polaris they live real close because of the Wyoming facility. So I got to know a lot of them, and they're like, "Hey, come race with us." And went through a couple hair scrambles and stuff with them, and just fell in love with it. I didn't do it as like something super serious at first. I just started having fun with it, and then I've known Joe since I was in diapers. With Terracross, he got me into that, and actually won the first ever Terracross race that they had, so kind of kickstarted from there, and then I just, racing around the country and Razor, started getting more serious with it, and did a few Torque races, and started looking at some Pro Lights and stuff, thinking, how do I get in one of those, and had an opportunity to rent a truck and race one weekend, and it was kind of, just went up from there.
I'm telling you, it gets its hooks in you, and it's all over, man. Trust me. I've been, I don't know how in debt I am because of this darn sport, you know what I mean? And me in desert instead of short course, but I'm telling you, it's a bad habit, and it's tough to break it.
Yeah, and I mean, it's fun racing anything, but there's something about being in a truck and just having to trust it, and it's a different feeling. I can get a rush from jumping a snowmobile 200 feet, but I haven't done the four-wheel deal my whole life, so I honestly get more of a rush from it. So, I mean, I love it. It's every time you strap in, it's something new, and it just gets my blood pumping, so.
It's funny you say that because you know, and I don't know what it is because I had Levi LaValle. I invited him to go to Dirtfish Rally School with me about a year and a half ago, and Cole Coutu and Levi and I went up there to Dirtfish. And Levi, here's a guy who's jumped across the San Diego Harbor. You know, you would think, you know, it takes a lot to get his adrenaline flowing. And we put him in rally cars at Dirtfish, and he had more fun. He's like, I haven't had this much fun. Like, he was just amped, and I'm like, you know, you would think, like, a guy that does stuff like that, like, it'd take a lot to get him excited, but there was something about him being in a car with four wheels, you know, and it was just like, it was a different kind of rush, I guess, and I'm feeling the same way with you then, huh?
Yeah, for sure. You know, I've lined up on the start line at X Games and stuff like that before, and it when you do it for so long, it not saying it's not fun, but it definitely, like, you lose some of that edge. Like with anything, just you've been doing it that long, it's not, you know, it's just part of what you do. So
yeah,
it just was my regular routine. Every winter I'd do that. So and it's sketchy racing, but in the truck it's something else, and that's what we all love about racing. That's what draws me to race, is that feeling. So getting in something that scares me is awesome. I love it. It's definitely different. I don't even know how to explain it. And you know, I've always been a fan of off-road and stuff like that, and especially now getting in the Pro 2, it's like, I thought that Pro Light was awesome. Like, if you would have asked me a week ago, like, what's the funnest thing you could do right now, I'd be like, get in that Pro Light and go run. And it's like, now I don't even want to look at it. I just want to go in that Pro 2 and run. So it's funny that way, how your perspective can change so fast. And, you know, I've watched a lot of desert stuff and never knew how some of that feels. But, like, I always envisioned it would feel like watching your truck go through the desert. It's just bouncy and, you know, floaty, that kind of feeling. I'm like, well, I wonder how the Pro 2 would feel. It feels exactly how it looks. And that was probably one of the craziest things about the weekend, is obviously not driving the truck before I got in it to race and getting in it and just having to go. But it was crazy getting in. It had a good setup in it from Keegan from last year, but just getting in it and feeling it, you know, a lot of that, just being a racer, it's cool to get in something and not have to, like, work at it super hard and be uncomfortable. It was definitely one of the cooler experiences I've had.
Yeah, well, and it's definitely, I mean, I can't even state how tough it is. I don't care how good the truck is. For somebody that you've never driven the truck, to jump in it and to win your very first race in Pro 2 nonetheless. Like, I mean, that's impressive, man. I mean, that doesn't happen very often. Well, I guess I can't say it doesn't happen very often, because I think Jarrett Brooks did that in Pro 2 this year in his first Pro 2 race out in the Lucas Series. But, I mean, it's not an easy feat to do at all, man. And I think that's what makes it much more impressive. But, I mean, what's the long-term goal here? I mean, obviously you're in the fight for Pro Light Championship. I mean, you're running that. I mean, you're mid-season now. I mean, are you going to run both the rest of this year and then maybe transition next year into Pro 2, or what's the plans?
Yeah, that's the plan as of now, is run the rest of the season in both trucks. We were kind of aiming for the last race, or the last couple races in the Pro 2, but you know, we kind of got it done quicker than we thought. Stanford been working on it hard in Crandon, and actually never, you know, we didn't get a chance to test it at all, but we're like, well, let's just go give it a try. So yeah, so I mean, coming up to that, never driving the truck, I'm like, oh man, like, it'd be cool to run 2 next year too. I know it's a lot, like, you got to get a lot of good sponsors and stuff to run 2 trucks, but hey, now that I've run the Pro 2, it's like, I'm probably fine just running that next year. It's fun. It's hard to get back in the Pro Light afterwards, because you kind of know what you're missing, but it's cool. It's definitely something I've done for, you know, a long time, is run multiple classes. When I first started in snowcross, when I was like 14, I ran like 5 classes, and I'm getting off like a 440 stalker onto like an 800 mod and some of that. So it wasn't something that I was completely foreign to, you know, running very different vehicles, but it definitely does take a lot of, you know, mental prep when you're strapping in. You got to remember you got a lot more power. You know, I actually had more problem adjusting into the Pro Light again, because it's like I'd want to slam it into something harder than I probably should, or something like that. It's a little bit different driving style, but it's fun as a racer to challenge yourself to try to, master both of them, and it's fun.
Yeah. So I got to ask, too, I know I've heard a bunch of stuff swirling about snowcross this next year, and I've heard of some rule changes, and I haven't read. My head isn't in snowcross mode yet. It's still summertime, right? So I haven't really started studying up. But are you guys, is the snowcross program still a go with you guys? Are you taking a break? Are you still going to do it full-time? And what's the status there with you guys in the snowcross series?
So I kind of announced my retirement at the end of last year. I've been racing for a long time, and just need something new. I'm still gonna be racing snowmobiles. I don't think it's something I can ever get out of my system. So I'm gonna try some cross country races this year, and I can dabble in that a little bit. I think it's going to be tough, pulling up to ERX in the winter and seeing everyone practicing. So I might have to keep a race sled around, if I ever want to go out. But we're just going to take it a little easier. We're focusing more on the truck racing now. And it's a lot racing full time, both winter and summer. We got family hobbies too. We got a cabin we like going to and stuff like that, and it's different. I'm getting married in a month here or so, and this stuff's changing that way. So I still want to be around racing, but I've been in snowcross for so long, and it's kind of a good time. The sport's changing a little bit. They got some rule changes with the stalkers and no more mods, so stuff like that. It's cool to be in it, and I've been at the top level for a couple of years now, and kind of been there, and it's tough. I've had a lot of bad injuries and 4 knee surgeries and concussions and stuff like that, and you start racing trucks, and you can see that you can still get that rush without some of that danger of getting banged up as bad. So it starts looking more appealing to me, and it's just kind of a choice I made. So.
Yeah, probably the safer choice. But I appreciate you taking the time to call in today. We got to take a short commercial break, but we definitely have to catch up soon. It looks like I might be out at Crandon doing some announcing for him and possibly some live radio. So we'll definitely have to link up if I head out to Crandon.
Awesome for sure. Yeah, we'll hook up then. So.
All right. Well, thanks a lot, Andrew. Congrats on the win, my friend, and we'll definitely chat soon.
Right on. Thanks, Jim.
All right. And we're going to take a short break right now on the Down and Dirty Radio Show, powered by Polaris RZR. I'm Polaris rider Jim Beaver. I race trophy trucks professionally, host a Down and Dirty Radio Show, and also travel the country announcing motorsports events. I've seen it all, and trust me, I've done most of it. So when it comes time to relax on the weekend, nothing is better than taking time with my family in our RZR vehicles. They've got the reliability I need to just pick up and go explore the desert, dunes, or trail, and have the capability to attack even the harshest terrain. If you're looking for some of the most reliable and safest, and hands down most capable off-road machines in the world, look no further than Polaris and their award-winning lineup of RZR vehicles. Whether you want your daughter to experience off-road driving for the first time in a RZR 170 like me, take the entire family out in a RZR XP4 1000 on the weekend, or shred the desert and dunes in the all-new RZR XP 1000 Fox Edition, Polaris has you handled. Take my advice and join me and some of the best drivers in the world by driving a Polaris RZR. Check out the full Polaris RZR lineup at Polaris.com or follow them on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at Polaris RZR.
Life is all about sound, the sound of sports, the sound at the racetrack, and the sound of your vehicle. Don't drive around listening to this. Drive around listening to the sound of performance. Gibson Performance. Gibson Performance Exhaust is the company who can turn this into this. Remember that life is all about sound, and Gibson Exhaust is the sound of performance. Check out your next catback exhaust system, headers, muffler, or UTV exhaust at GibsonPerformance.com and get more power and more sound.
Do you race, or are you a weekend warrior? Have you checked on the date on your helmet recently? Don't get caught off guard by using an outdated helmet. Impact Racing, the leader in motorsport safety, has new SA 2015 helmets to fit your budget. Whether you're looking for a helmet with a full carbon fiber shell to take you to victory at the Indy 500, or just looking for some helmets for a weekend at Glamis, Impact Racing has a helmet for you. Find out more information at impactraceproducts.com or on Facebook at Impact Safety. Since 1970, KC Highlights has been designing and manufacturing performance lighting for off-road and motorsports, beginning with the legendary Daylighter up until today's revolutionary Flex, Pod, and Pro 6 lighting systems. KC Highlights offers a full line of halogen, HID, and LED lighting solutions for your off-road vehicle. Looking for the best quality lighting? Looking for the brand champions choose? You're looking for KC Highlights. Find out more information at kchighlights.com or follow them on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at KC Highlights.
The Subaru WRX and WRX STI, a 268 horsepower turbocharged Subaru Boxer engine, rockets the WRX around corners and down straightaways. A race-ready 305 horsepower turbocharged Subaru Boxer engine keeps the WRX STI a rally legend. The Subaru WRX and WRX STI, it's not a sibling rivalry, it's a tag team. Get the latest from Subaru Rally Team USA at Subaru.com/rally.
Welcome back to the Down and Dirty Radio Show, powered by Polaris Razor. Jim Beaver, Amy Hood here. And before we get into talking X Games, I do have to give a quick rundown and a big shout-out to my good friend Frederick Osbo for his, I believe, 12th career Formula Drift victory. Man, he's creeping up there. He's got to be one of the winningest Formula D drivers in history at this point. I need to pull those. I need to pull those stats. He's still young. He's only been in the series a couple years, but I need to pull those stats and find out before next episode. But big shout out. He was up there in Canada. They were out there, Montreal this weekend, maybe. But yeah, he was your big Formula D winner on the weekend. And then Torque, obviously, we had that going on. Johnny Greaves and CJ Greaves both taking a couple of Pro 4 wins. Pro 2, obviously, Andrew Carlson, our guest just a minute ago, and Luke Johnson taking a couple Pro 2 victories. We had Kyle and Cody Kleeman both taking Pro Light victories. And CJ Greaves taking a handful of UTV victories, as well as Kyle Cheney and Rodney Van Eperen. So a big shout-out to all our weekend winners. And so moving on to X Games, Amy Hood, I was reading that thread that you posted.
Good.
Holy crap, Twitch is involved in there, and we got to get Twitch back on air. I got to text Twitch. We got to get Twitch back on air. He pings me every once in a while, and Twitch needs to make a reappearance on the show. Last time we had him, it was, I don't know, it was an amazing interview, but this seems like it's about right for Twitch to come back. We got to pre-tape those, though, because you never know what's going to come out of Twitch's mouth.
I was just going to say we have to pre-tape this one. Yes. I mean, his last interview was phenomenal. We were talking about his daughter and, you know, taking his razor out to the desert and everything. But I feel like if I were to bring up anything X Games related and buying tweets, that we would definitely have to pre-tape that interview. If you guys haven't had a chance, head over to Josh Hill's Instagram. Check it out. But we talked about it a little bit earlier. We're going to dive into it a bit deeper now. Yeah. But I understand where X Games is coming from with getting the fans involved, utilizing social media. It's the digital world. But in all honesty, this is not a live entertainment show. This is X Games. This is where you go to slay your competition by bringing the best of your abilities to the table. And when you have something like fan judges that don't even allow the fans who are in the seats at the own event enough time to get on their phones and vote, you know, I really dove into it and kind of try to see perspective from the fans at home, fans there, other athletes, because of course other athletes are voting as well. And they say the results were in before, you know, people even got to get their last runs in. And I just think it's incredibly unfair. But I get where they're coming from with trying to, you know, utilize the whole digital world and, you know, the fans to get involved. But, you know, when they make such a big error where, you know, there's uproar on social media and it almost discredits, you know, you're talking a little bit about, you know, X Games finally moving forward and they're a little bit more like how they used to be and they're bouncing back. You know, this almost discredits that. A lot of people were saying and commenting that X Games is a joke. Like, the fans aren't those athletes out there risking everything and putting their lives on the line, you know, for a popularity contest or quote unquote bot tweets, reposts. So I just think it takes a little bit of the professionalism of the sport out. With that being said, like, I understand fan votes have a place in Monster Jam and other events, but not necessarily X Games. I don't think so at all. And especially when you get such, you know, very passionate opinions from other professional athletes. What does that say? You know, like, I'm on their side, and I am a fan, and I am an athlete. I am both. So I do feel like I'm not trying to be biased. Like, I understand where they're coming from the fan side, but as a professional athlete, when you go to X Games, it should, you know, you shouldn't be relying on social media to defer your score.
Yeah, well, you know, and there's a place for fan voting. I understand I understand the purpose of it. Both of us talked about that. Like, I think to defend X Games, I think that they would think more of, they would never think that any of their athletes would go to that level. You know what I mean? Like, I think they see the best in people, which I do too. You know what I mean? And I think, like, to me, that's just like, it's like, really, you would stoop that low? But I guess there's people out there that would. But maybe there's a way, because, you know, you look at,
and stoop that low by buying the tweet packages.
Yeah, I mean, like,
I know that's what you mean. That's what you mean.
That would never cross my mind. Like, if I was in a contest to going, oh, I'm going to buy, like, that doesn't even enter my thought process. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I would never, I'm reading that going, really? Somebody would think about doing that to win? Like, I mean, what a hollow victory that is, you know? Like, but.
But then you get the outrage by the fans at the same time, thinking that's what's happening, rather than thinking, oh, that the general population does agree with, you know, like, I just feel like when you throw in the fan votes, you get all this, like, gray area and bias and internet warriors, and everything just gets heightened and lashed out. And, you know, poor Cantrell, you know, like, I still think that he is a great athlete, and I don't think that Behrman should have won. Like, I don't. But I just think the fan judges almost skew it and make it such a bias, like, oh, that's not right. I couldn't get my vote in. My vote didn't count. It just makes it such a mess. It's a messy win. And, you know, we were texting Tyler last night trying to get him to come on the show, but he's headed over to Belgium right now. But, you know, he's like, yeah, I'll come on the show. He's going to try to come on next week for all the fans out there listening. But he, right before he ended the call, he's like, #People's Choice. Like, because everyone was, like, kind of defending him, and he said everybody in the crowd was cheering for him, and the crowd engagement at the actual event maybe didn't depict the outcome that Twitter did, you know?
Yeah, maybe they do something, too, where there's a lot of shows that do things where you literally have, like a buzzer, anybody that's in the actual stadium, and, you know, A, B, C, D. There's like 5 choices, and the people that are there in the stadium get to vote. You know, and it's a live vote during the contest, and you lock in your vote by pushing a certain button on the beeper, and it's only good for people there, you know, so your fan vote's just determined by the people in the seats watching there. And I don't know, there's a lot of ways to do it. I mean, and I've always looked at Best Whip. I hate to say this, but it's always, to me, it's an X Games medal, but it's not like it's winning best trick or something like that, because it's been a fan voting deal and it's a popularity contest. I mean, it's a legit X Games medal, but I've always kind of figured it's never sunk in as like somebody, I'm a best whip gold medalist. That's not like saying, hey, I won best trick. You know, like, to me, it's always just kind of, it's always kind of been that medal that's like, yeah, you got a medal, but it's kind of not really a medal. I mean, it is, but it isn't, if that makes sense.
Jim, I'd like to see you go out there and throw a gnarly whip, okay? Like,
I can't. I'm just saying.
I don't even have my butt whips aren't even very good right now. Like, yeah. I am not good at whips. And you know what? A lot of people pride themselves on being able to whip a dirt bike gnarly. Like, I think it does have its place in X Games, but I think there needs to be a different voting mechanism. I just think it was all wrong. It caused so much grief on the internet. And I just feel like the fans, the athletes, and X Games just kind of lost their cohesive bond over the particular thing. Like, if you go and read threads and posts about it, like, it gets pretty vicious. And I just think
it's crazy.
If you don't have anything nice to say, don't say it at all. Twitch, Jeremy Steinberg, like, you don't need to lash out on the fans, but I get it. Like, it was war.
Twitch is opinionated? Who would have thought?
Oh, I know, right?
Twitch, I love
funny.
Twitch,
like,
but he's
comedy. Grab some popcorn.
Yeah, no joke. So you want to grab some popcorn. So we had that going on, and at the same time, and it blew mine. So this is another thing that's going viral, and people. So Jaguar, the car company, they come out with this SUV, right? And so they decide that they're they get Terry Grant, who's one of the best stunt drivers in the world, to drive this Jaguar, and they barrel roll it, right? And they had Guinness Book of World Records there, and they barrel roll it. It's on YouTube, and the clips, they're trying to get it to go viral. And they hit a ramp, and the thing barrel rolls and lands on its wheels, and they had Guinness there, and this is big thing, world's first barrel roll. And certified by Guinness World Records and everything. It's 100% bullcrap. Adrian Cheney, 3 years ago at the Baja 1000, barrel rolled a truck in front of 50,000 people. It's well documented on YouTube. Rob Dyrdek barreled a Chevrolet Sonic at Six Flags Magic Mountain in Southern California. It's all over YouTube. And then you also had Hot Wheels did one with an off-road buggy where I can't remember where they did it at, but it's all over YouTube. So it's been done 3 times in the past 5 years, but, quote, Guinness wasn't there. So now all of a sudden Jaguar's laying claim. They're the 4th person to actually do it, but Jaguar's laying claim, first ever barrel roll. Well, they were the first ones that ever invited Guinness there, so now they're laying claim and discrediting the 3 people that have done it previously. And it's not like it was like, some grainy video. Like, it's professional shot for YouTube quality video. It's well documented that these other 3 people did it, but now Jaguar's laying claim to it, and people are outraged over it. It's crazy. This is like the worst publicity stunt in history for Jaguar, because they laid claim to a paper world record because it's been done 3 times prior.
That's horrible. I mean, like you said, that's really bad on Jaguar's part, because that's like doing the first ever backflip, and 13 other people did it, and
But you were the first one with Guinness there.
Bad.
Yeah, and
oh yeah.
Yeah. So technically, I guess they were the first certified barrel roll.
Marketing.
Yeah, they were the first certified barrel roll.
Anything.
What's that?
No. That is wrong. That's wrong. That's absolutely wrong.
Yeah, like, I don't know. The whole thing.
Does that mean that Guinness has to be at every one of the X Games then for its best trick to lame claim at all, or what?
Yeah, like, it's garbage, but internet's going crazy in the car community, and I'm going nuts over it. Like, this is crap. Like, how can a car company do that?
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know. So between X Games and that, it was an eventful weekend for hatred on the internet. I don't know. It's drama on the internet. I don't know. It's. I don't know. So, wrapping up, we only got a minute and a half, though. I mean, I opened the show. Everybody knows my thoughts on X Games. You, though, I mean, you and me, we're both big X Games fans. We're their target demographic. I mean, what did you think about X Games in Minneapolis? I'm sure you tuned into some of the events, down there in Florida and stuff like that. I mean, what was your takeaway? We got a minute, on X Games first year in Minneapolis.
I absolutely loved it. And I'm really sad that I wasn't able to take part and drive down, but I was in Florida. It would have been a long drive. But I had the opportunity to go to X Games when I was in LA, and it was a pain in the butt to get around everywhere. Like Joe was saying, some of the events were 30 minutes away, and I was reading all about, I was reading what the athletes had to say about the event, and, talking and seeing all the photos of even the BMX and the skateboarders with the moto crew. Like, in LA, you never got that. The events were so far away. People were talking about how it was such a good community where, the sports could really walk around and check everything out in the other disciplines. And then also, the best thing that I loved was really seeing all of the athletes' photos from downtown Minneapolis. Minneapolis has so much culture, so much history, amazing street art, and that was actually one of my most favorite things to see, was to see what these people would post of checking out Minneapolis. And I think it made for a really great experience. It was almost like the Olympics, when you go to all the different countries and cities and you see all the athletes from the Olympics posting about the cities that they're in. Like, I feel like Minneapolis put its whole heart into X Games, and it was a fantastic venue, fantastic event. No major injuries, and yeah, I just think it was fantastic. I was really too bad I wasn't there, but hopefully they can host it there again.
Yeah, I know it's on next year, and I've had so many people, hey, where were you? How come you weren't there? Like, it's on next year, right? We got to be in Minneapolis. We'll do some live radio. Yeah. I'll link up with X Games. We'll do some live shows from there or something. But I do, before we
definitely.
Before we go to the break, real quick, Brighton Zuner, big shout out to her. Massive fan. She turned 13 at X Games, the youngest ever X Games gold medalist. She signed a Red Bull deal right before it. I've actually been messaging with her, and I think she's going to come on Project Action. So Brighton Zuner, big shout out to her.
What? I'm coming on that radio show too then.
All right. We'll
talk with her because she's awesome.
Yeah, we'll get you on when we do that. But we're going to take a break, and we'll come back. We're going to wrap things up here on the Down and Dirty Radio Show, powered by Polaris Razor. I'm Polaris rider Jim Beaver. I race trophy trucks professionally, host the Down and Dirty Radio Show, and also travel the country announcing motorsports events. I've seen it all, and trust me, I've done most of it. So when it comes time to relax on the weekend, nothing is better than taking time with my family in our Razor vehicles. They've got the reliability I need to just pick up and go explore the desert, dunes, or trail, and have the capability to attack even the harshest terrain. If you're looking for some of the most reliable and safest, and hands down most capable off-road machines in the world, look no further than Polaris and their award-winning lineup of Razor vehicles. Whether you want your daughter to experience off-road driving for the first time in a Razor 170 like me, take the entire family out in a Razor XP4 1000 on the weekend, or shred the desert and dunes in the all-new Razor XP 1000 Fox Edition, Polaris has you handled. Take my advice and join me and some of the best drivers in the world by driving a Polaris Razor. Check out the full Polaris Razor lineup at Polaris.com or follow them on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at Polaris Razor.
The Subaru WRX and WRX STI, a 268 horsepower turbocharged Subaru Boxer engine, rockets the WRX around corners and down straightaways. A race-ready 305 horsepower turbocharged Subaru Boxer engine keeps the WRX STI a rally legend. The Subaru WRX and WRX STI, it's not a sibling rivalry. It's a tag team. Get the latest from Subaru Rally Team USA at Subaru.com/rally.
Looking to have some fun on four wheels? Dirtfish Rally School has you covered. Packing as much adrenaline and adventure as you can handle into high-performance all-wheel drive and rear-wheel drive Subaru rally cars is where the fun begins at Dirtfish. Just 30 minutes outside of Seattle in Snoqualmie, you'll get a chance to train up to 3 full days with some of the country's best instructors and be put through the high-octane rush of rally on mud, dirt, and tarmac. Get started today and call 425-888-7715 or visit us online at dirtfish.com and use code 911 for a 15% discount.
Life is all about sound, the sound of sports, the sound of the racetrack, and the sound of your vehicle. Don't drive around listening to this. Drive around listening to the sound of performance. Gibson Performance. Gibson Performance Exhaust is the company who can turn this into this. Remember that life is all about sound, and Gibson Exhaust is the sound of performance. Check out your next catback exhaust system, headers, muffler, or UTV exhaust at GibsonPerformance.com and get more power and more sound.
For 100 years, General Tire has provided tires for your lifestyle, your adventure, your anywhere. Born from competition, the Grabber tire offers the durability and off-road traction you demand in a tire. We put these tires to the test in the harshest off-road racing conditions to give you a tire that will make your anywhere possible. So let us take you on your next big adventure. Tweet us photos at General Tire, hashtag anywhere is possible. Because with General Tire, anywhere is possible. Welcome back to the Down and Dirty Radio Show, powered by Polaris Razor. Jim Beaver, Amy Hood here, wrapping things up. And, man, it was a fun show today. Big shout-out to Kyle Larson. We had X Games flat track gold medalist Sammy Halbert. Also had Joe Duncan and Torque winner Andrew Carlson on the line. So, lots of fun wrapping up X Games, and I don't know, whole lot of good stuff. I know you're back in Canada. What's up next for you, Amy?
Yes, I literally just got off the airplane and back home, picked up my truck. I have a really good, awesome, important meeting today with a new sponsor for my motocross schools, which is going to allow me to, take them farther and hopefully be able to, head out west and have a couple schools down there. And I'm going to be having one in Calgary. And I'm just looking forward to kind of getting back teaching the little kiddies and riding some dirt bikes. It's that time of year.
Nice. Next week, I will be at the Polaris Razor Dealer Show, so be looking for that. Obviously, we'll have our weekly show, and then I'll be doing something for an hour, I think, from the Polaris Dealer Show with talking about some of the new Polaris Razor models and interviewing some of the athletes. So be tuned in for that next week. And then in 2 weeks, we got episode number 300 of the Down and Dirty Radio Show, and we're going to be blowing things up for that one. So be watching social media as we get closer. Some big announcements. Big thanks to Polaris Razor, General Tire, Subaru, Casey Highlights, Gibson Exhaust, Dirtfish, Impact, OTSFF, Optimus, Terracross, and the Blue Water Resort and Casino. I'm Jim Beaver. You can follow me at JimBeaver15. Amy is at AmyHood71. Don't forget to rate, review, subscribe to Project Action, and tune in this week. I've got Jason Hairston on the line or on the show. About an hour-long interview with him. Definitely good stuff. And don't forget to use that coupon code JBDirtfish for 15% off at Dirtfish Rally School. I don't know, you got anything before we leave, Amy?
No, guys, just have a fun, safe weekend, and keep in touch on my Instagram where I'm going to be posting my motocross schools, dates and locations if you want to sign up and come on down and hang out.
All right, sounds good. Be safe, everybody. We'll see you next week. As always, game on.